What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blowhole. Before we introduce our guest here today, who has quite a resume, pretty excited to have him here, let's welcome our resident DWI ambassador, Steven. How are you today?
Doing very well, my friend.
Fucking guy was in a Rolls Royce the other day.
Wow.
What fucking Twilight Zone do I live in? That I'm raking up credit card debt. I can't afford my bills, and this fucking degenerate is driving around in a Rolls Royce.
Wow.
Good world we live in.
Yeah,
kid.
unbelievable.
I took time off from reality. I told you I was getting back in.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And it's Ashley's birthday today, so apparently she had a birthday party last night, which we were not invited to. Thanks.
Yeah, I guess our invitation got lost in the
I
fucking
know,
room.
I know,
Was it
but-
here, or is she out of
No,
town?
I don't know what the fuck happened, but she wasn't. And Anne Marie, my general manager, was going to join us, but who the fuck knows where she is? So who gives a shit? More importantly, this is actually the first time that I've had somebody who I look up to as a mentor. Yeah, he's got 15 years on me, so I'm not. You know what's good is because I could use some advice in life. I feel like I'm the guy giving the advice all the time. So today, we are very fortunate enough to have good friend Rick Allen. Let's talk a little bit about his history here, right? WWF or WWE wrestler, right?
Yes.
UWF,
right?
UWF,
WWF.
right? We're going to talk all about that. You are the owner of American Protection Bureau, which is a very successful security company up here on Long Island. I mean, you have taken care of the creme de la creme. I mean, from what, like J-Lo to Jay-Z?
Oh, several
Crafted.
celebrities. I mean, big parties, Hampton parties, big functions in the city. You name it, we've done all types of physical security throughout Long Island, New York City, Florida. We just got licensed in Texas last year, and we're licensed in New Jersey. So we're trying to.
It's a big business.
It's big business.
You have a couple hundred employees, right?
About 300-400 employees, but you know it's big expenses too, insurance costs, and
yes.
you know everything else. I don't have to tell you about that, but
But here's the thing about you, which is where the real advice I'm going to need comes in. After all the shit that you've done in your life, how is it that you are so nice? He's honestly like one of the nicest people I've ever met. Really is.
He really is.
Always calm and collected and just kind and generous.
well, anger will get you nowhere. I found that out when I was very young. You know, what you put into things is what you're going to get out of it. And if you portray yourself as a bad, nasty person, that's how people are going to look at you. So if you're nice and kind to people, you know, you get that back tenfold, you know, usually. I mean, running a business, you know how it is. You got to be kind to all your customers, and you got to, you know, the customer's always right, that type of philosophy. And I just try to, you know, practice what I preach, you know, in life and in business and, you know, everything else that I do.
But you had to, at some point in your life, you had to be a dick. Were you a dick ever? When you were wrestling, were you a dick?
Not too much.
Really?
I mean, I always
He's just nice.
have time for the fans. You know, the fans are the ones that pay our bills and they come out to see us. So, you know, you always had to take time for your fans and people, you know, that supported you and everything else. And same with business. You know, you just apply it to different degrees to different things that you're doing. You know, when people call you names, you know, if you're a bad guy in wrestling, you know, they're just, you know, you're doing your job. You know, like if people hate you and everything, if you're a bad guy, then you know you're getting paid to do that. So
You're definitely doing your job,
You
son.
want to be the you want to be the best, you know, heel or bad guy you can
That's
be.
got to be fun. So, I mean, you are Sunny Beach,
Right.
which is one half of Wet and Wild,
Correct.
right? And you were in the circuit for a long time.
15 years I wrestled professionally from
Wow.
1985 to 2000.
And, I mean, you've wrestled some big names. I know Mick Foley. I know you were
yeah.
No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan.
This is our 35th anniversary of making No Holds Barred, and we have a bunch of autograph shows coming up next month in New Jersey, Philadelphia, out here in Long Island. We're doing the Monty and the Pharaoh show. I have my good buddy Stan Hansen coming in to stay with me. Him and his wife are very good friends of mine and my wife's, and whenever he comes to New York, he usually stays at our house with us, and we always do all kinds of fun stuff. When he's in town, we hit all the wineries, breweries, and stuff like that.
You're always hanging out with like fucking Jimmy Hart.
Oh, yeah.
Who's Glacier, right?
Ray Lloyd, I got him in the wrestling business. He was in No Holds Barred with us. I got him in as an extra in the movie. So Ray Lloyd, we went to Valdosta State together down in Valdosta, Georgia, and I was wrestling down there, and he was playing college football, and I got Ray into wrestling business, and I also got him into the movie with us. So Ray's done very well for himself, and he's a teacher down in Orlando, Florida. He used to work a little bit at Walt Disney World and MGM down there, doing a lot of these shows and stuff. And
how did you get in the movie? Was that just right time, right place?
It was timing, right time, right place. They casted me. I was wrestling for a company called Southern Championship Wrestling out of Atlanta, Georgia at the time. And they saw me on TV. And Joe Pedicino and Gordon Soley had a show down there, Pro Wrestling Weekly. And Pat Patterson and I guess the talent scouts from WWF at the time saw me, and they wanted me to be in the movie because they wanted to have some fresh faces and new talent that nobody's seen, and no holds barred. So they booked me to be in the first fight scene with an old-time wrestler named Joe LeDuc. And we had the first fight scene in the Octagon Bar, and no holds barred. So I was down filming in Atlanta for about 10 days. Got to meet Stan Hansen and a couple of other guys. Hogan was down there, Vince McMahon. He's the one that bankrolled the whole movies and stuff. And we just, cut our scenes real quick. It only took us we had like a couple of days of rehearsal, and then we went out there and we shot everything live, and it was 1 or 2 takes, and, we were in and out. And then right after No Holds Barred, they signed me for a 2-year deal with the WWF.
I was going to say, so that's really
I
what...
went on the road, yeah. After that, I guess I proved myself, and they liked what they saw.
That's really cool.
They, gave me a contract for 2 years.
What is that process and experience like signing a contract with? I mean, are you like one-on-one with Vince McMahon? Or?
No, they have like their lawyers and stuff, and people they send it to you in the mail. You sign off, and you send it back up there and stuff, and then they welcome you with open arms.
Is it blood money at the beginning?
It's like anything else. It's a job. That's the way I've always looked at the wrestling business as employment. This is what I do. I want to be the best at what I could do, and I was always in the gym working out at the time. We'd work out during the day. We'd drive or fly to town, and sometimes the schedules were just like relentless. We'd have like 3 weeks on, 2 days off, 2 weeks on, 3 days off. You come home, you pay your bills, you do your laundry, and you're back out on the road again. And then some of the flights, we would be at some towns, we'd fly out at like 5, 6 in the morning, and then we would hit a town like by 12 in the afternoon. Then we find a gym, go work out, go get something to eat, and then head over to the arena. And then you'd be there till like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then you go back to your hotel, you sleep a couple of hours, and then you do the same thing again the next day. Leave out at 3, 4, 5 in the morning to get to the airport. It was a grind. It's like, almost like a rock star.
I was just going to say, you're on just like a rock star.
And we're in different towns. One day we might be in Los Angeles, California. Next day we might be in Houston, Texas. And next day we might be in Chicago, Rosemont Horizon, or up here at New York City at Madison Square Garden. So, you're flying all over the place. Canada, we were all over Canada, Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver. I mean, it was a crazy schedule. And sometimes back then when I was wrestling in 88 and 89, we used to have 3 towns. Like we would have 3 different shows. We would have like the big shows at the big cities. Then we would have smaller, the B shows in the smaller cities, like maybe colleges or civic auditoriums and stuff like that. Then we would have like the C shows, like in little National Guard armories or high school gyms or, smaller venues, that hold maybe 2,000-3,000 people. But then, the big shows, 30,000-40,000 people a night. So, if you were
got to be a rush.
It was a rush. Like when first time I wrestled Madison Square Garden, I was on a Hulk Hogan show, and they would pay you basically on the crowd, what the gates were and stuff like that. And that was the first night that I made over $2,000 for one show. It was like, if you were on a Hogan card or if you were on a tour with Hogan for like 2 weeks straight, 14 days, you were going to make, between 20 and 30,000. And
no
I was
shit.
just a, up and coming guy, and that's just for a couple of weeks, So the money was really, really good back then. And I was, 24 years old, living the rock star lifestyle, And
were there groupies? I mean, it was the 80s.
Well, we don't call them groupies. We used to call them ring rats.
Ring rats. We heard that last week. You guys told us. Yes.
We would call them ring rats. They would follow us around from town to town, or they would meet us at the airports or local bars, or they'd even wait for us at gyms. They would find out where would you work out and wait there, and they'd take you out to dinner, or they'd meet you at the bar. They'd pay for your drinks. I mean, it was like I was like a rock star back then. This is before I met my wife, of course, but we were living large. Every town, you were like sailors in different ports. You'd have a girl in each town.
Fucking Christ, man!
It was great.
How much fucking penicillin did you have to take?
Oh God.
That is the greatest way to ask. I was thinking about.
You know what I mean?
Thank God this was, before, cell phones and all that other stuff, because well, there would have been a lot of debauchery, a lot of,
speaking of
and everything else, probably.
Speaking of debauchery, and you obviously know Steve, but aside of that, you did Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring with Vice Network. We did a special for Herb Abrams called Cocaine and Cowboys.
Yes. Now,
wait, Cocaine Cowboys?
No.
Cocaine and Cowboys.
If you haven't seen, I love that show, by the way. I watch that shit. Have you watched that at all, Dark Side of the Ring?
I haven't.
It's fucking amazing. Chris Jericho narrates it, and there's just a couple of seasons of it now.
Oh yeah, there are season, I think 3 or 4 right now. I was on season 2, and they came to New York here. They filmed everything. They were at my house. They were at my office. I brought them out to where Herb Abrams is buried out in Long Island here, and I was great friends with Herb Abrams. So he came from California. He came to this guy John Arizzi's wrestling convention, the first big major wrestling convention on the East Coast. He did Weekends at Champions at one of the hotels at LaGuardia Hotel, I think. And he had every major star there, from Ric Flair to Bruno Sammartino to you name it, Fabulous Moolah. They were all there, and it was a great time. Fans got to meet all their heroes and wrestling superstars, and myself was there, Mick Foley, back when we were, just young kids, and Herb Abrams signed me to a deal right there, through Bruno Sammartino recommended me to him.
Amazing.
And, and I got in, on the ground floor with the UWF.
Now, I got to tell you about this story, though. This fucking guy, Herb Abrams.
He was a rock star.
I mean, I'm not saying I agree with some of the shit that he did today anyway, but it was pretty cool. I understand some of the stories that they were telling, that they used to find this guy in his hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
Wearing nothing but fucking...
Nothing but a smile.
Hookers and cocaine everywhere.
He'd be naked. He'd be running around the room chasing these girls. He'd be...
Oiled up and shit.
He would baby oil. I mean, he was he was a rock star. I mean, I witnessed some of this stuff firsthand, and I've saved him a couple of times from people. He would get so, tore up, whether it was drinking a scotch or drinking whatever he would drink, and then he would do his coke and all that stuff, and then half the time we'd have to babysit him, or we'd find him out in the lobby or running up the hallway naked, and we'd have to bring him back to his room, or he was just, and he would hire all these hookers, and he would pay the hookers more than he'd pay the wrestlers, come down, and some of the boys were all upset because hookers are getting $3,000-$4,000 a pop, and we're getting $1,000 for the show, and we're like, why are these girls making all the money, and we're getting paid cheap.
Because that was his way of saying,
hair can pull a battleship. That's why.
And then some of the times the checks would bounce, after he'd ride them and stuff. After one pay-per-view, he wrote a bunch of bad checks, and a lot of people came after him and stuff, and a lot of people didn't want to work for him afterwards. But he always made good for my checks and stuff, thank God. But
it's because you picked him up off the floor.
Yeah, he was only like maybe 5'2" or 3. He wasn't the most biggest guy, but he was one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life.
Well, it's funny because I got to tell you something. This guy, when I watched this episode, you know who I fucking thought of?
Who?
You.
Oh.
I fucking thought it.
I'm not 5'2", though.
Yeah, but your fucking neck makes you look like you are the Herb Abrams.
The Herb Abrams of Northport.
Yes, he really is. He is that guy.
I see that.
It's fucking funny.
I could see that.
Yes. Nice. Where's Steve? He'd be fucking down on the fucking boat, naked, with just fucking chasing fucking hookers off the fucking docks or whatnot, whatever. Sorry.
God bless him.
Listen,
it happens.
That's Steve.
It's funny.
It happens.
And everybody in Northport knows everybody. We're like a dysfunctional, backwoods, inbred West Virginia,
really,
type
everyone
of
knows
fucking place.
I used to think were brothers. And my son calls them Chuck and Larry. I don't know why.
Chuck and Larry. We're not allowed to say Mike's name anymore. He hates us so much now. We'll just beep him out.
Mike's a good guy.
Yeah. I don't fucking everybody's got a stick up their ass, So then
Chuck and Larry.
Yeah, well, they really are. Fucking believable. All right? But quite characters around here.
There's a lot of characters around. There's more characters in the wrestling business. I mean,
I'm sure.
everybody's a character. Everybody, believes their own bullshit, and
So I mean, like, I'm 46, and I grew up. I mean, when my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid was like Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior,
right,
and it's WrestleMania weekend. Actually, do you still watch that shit?
Once in a while. I mean, I got out of it. Once I retired from the business, I still got a lot of good friends in the wrestling business. And whenever they come to New York, as you obviously see, we go to Rob Key's or they come to my house. We hang out, have a few beers, tell a lot of stories. Reminisce, go get a nice meal somewhere. So I mean, I watch it once in a while. But I took my son to wrestling one time, and I was kind of turned off by it because back then, you have agents and stuff, and they would run like blocker for the office. Like I'd say, request some tickets to bring my family or something. Like if they were at Nassau Coliseum or something, my son growing up, he was a big wrestling fan. He loved Undertaker, Steve Austin. So I said, all right, let me go bring you to meet these guys. So I brought him a couple of times, and one time we went there, and they knew that I wrestled for them, and it's like, once you're done with wrestling the WWF, they treat you like they never heard of you. Like you're an old pair of shoes, and they're going to throw you up on a line, and you're just going to dangle.
That's a bummer.
So they don't have any really loyalty, or they didn't have any loyalty at that time. So many wrestlers that wrestled for them that earned them a lot of money, they got caught up in, like getting hooked on drugs and pain pills, or some of them got divorced and stuff.
Sure.
Some of them had a lot of medical problems, and WWF never came and helped any of these people, or they
That's
maybe
pretty
helped a
fucked up.
handful of people, like some of their stars. I know they send a couple of people to rehab. Razor Ramon, I think Sonny, and she's in prison right now for vehicular manslaughter. She killed somebody down in Florida.
Right.
So she's doing
Sonny.
15 to 25 years in jail. And she's not getting out for a while. When you kill somebody and you had several chances, like DWIs, and she's had multiple DWIs in different states, and, always under the influence, whether it was pills or alcohol. And how many chances are you going to get? And then she killed some older person, ran into the back of him, and he died. So, it's a sad thing, like superstar Billy Graham, he was their world champion with WWF.
Yeah.
And, and he needed a lot of help because he had a lot of medical problems later in life, and nobody really helped him. He had a GoFundMe page, and it just broke my heart, that this guy was on top of the world and top of the wrestling business, and nobody could help him. There's certain people, they send money and stuff, and, Chris Jericho is very good at doing stuff. Somebody passes away, he'll help families out. Or
He seems like a nice guy.
He's just a really great guy. And some of these other people, they don't want to. The Rock helps a lot of people. When Bray Wyatt passed away, he made sure that their family, the Wyndham family, had, money, food on their plates, took care of them, brought groceries and stuff.
That's nice to hear.
So, there's some really, really good people in the wrestling business, and there's just, some of the promoters and people.
It's probably like anything, right?
Yeah.
Nice people and shitheads.
Yeah, but some of these people that made a lot of money off people, I thought they should maybe have like a fund, maybe a retirement fund for some of the wrestlers, or maybe to help them out, when they need it, like their family, a crisis or a medical issue or something, but they don't have anything set up like that. And, it's a sad situation for a lot of guys.
So when you get done wrestling, I guess you kind of realize it. I mean, did you make enough money to get started, or?
What I did was I saw the writing on the wall, because you can't wrestle forever.
Right.
I mean, you got maybe a good 10, 15-year run at best. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get injuries. There's always somebody right behind you trying to take your spot. If you get hurt, somebody's going to move into your position, and you got to work your way back into it. So, you try to stay on top of as long as you can. But I knew, like at 35 years old, 34, 35 years old, that, hey, it's time to get out, And I started selling telecommunications. I started doing bodyguard work. And then I started doing some bouncing at some of the clubs and stuff. And then I would work at the big clubs in the city. And they would ask me, hey, you know any other big guys like yourself? I said, yeah, I got a couple guys at the gym I could bring down. So this is before you really need your security license and stuff like that. So a lot of times guys were working without licensing and stuff in New York City. And, they weren't really checking up on them that much. But then in 1999, I took my watch guard and patrol agency license, and I started my own security company, Forte Security.
Mm-hmm, right.
And I was Forte Security up until about 2015, 2016, when I rebranded the company and made it American Protection Bureau. And in 2016 also, I bought a security training school in Levittown called BSI Security Training at a Long Island Training Center. We could do armed, unarmed training. We were doing Red Cross CPR, first aid, and all kinds of good stuff there. We were doing active shooter training way before, active shooter training was popular. And we're probably the best.
Before there were all the active shooters.
Yeah, we're probably the best security guard training school in Long
I should
Island
get a
right
job from him. I'm fucking broke. I got nothing, Maybe you can give me a job.
now. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Fuck,
You'd be a good security guard.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
But so, I mean, a lot of restaurants.
We do a lot of
lot
restaurants.
of bars.
We do a lot of bars. We do a lot
Clubs.
of hospitality industry. I mean, it's all hospitality industry. We do like Agenta's meat farms and stuff like that, grocery stores. Because during COVID, I mean, I was almost out of business.
Well,
I mean,
that's what we were just talking about.
It was
What a
really,
shit
really
show.
bad. I mean, we were doing a lot of nightclubs, restaurants, lounges, and stuff, and catering halls. And then the state said you can't do these things, or you can only have 25% capacity. So when they did that, they cut my staff almost to 90%. Because if we had 10 guys at a place, we would only have like 1 or 2 guys now.
Right.
And then where's this other guys, 8 guys going to work? And then a lot of places just shut down during COVID, and some places didn't even reopen. I had like 15 places that closed down for good.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, boom, that was a big part of it. And then rebuilding that next year when we were coming out of COVID, and guys that used to work for me found other jobs and they went elsewhere, because I couldn't give them the work anymore. So they went to different, industries and stuff. Some of them got jobs in construction, some of them got jobs, other security companies that weren't doing nightclubs, restaurants, and stuff like that. So it was a very hard transition these last 3 or 4 years, getting back up on my feet.
But now, and we were talking about this before, and this is where I find none of us in business are unique. Today, post-COVID, the state of the union that we're currently in, it's affecting all of us. So you were saying, like, your insurance is through the roof.
My insurance almost doubled. I was paying almost $150,000, $160,000 a year for just liability insurance. It's up to $260 now, and that's before I even make any profit or anything. I have to pay all that out, and they want like 30% down. And you're like, all you're doing is paying insurance, and it's ridiculous.
And the payroll going up.
The payroll goes up, and the pay rates stay the same because I can't charge my clients, add on, I can't charge $40 or $50 an hour for a guard. I got to stay between like $30 and $35 an hour to be competitive and, charge what everybody else is charging.
So our few listeners over here have often heard me complaining over the years, constantly.
You whine and complain.
About, shut up, fuckface. So, talking about how our margins have just, it's almost insignificant. There's no point.
I mean, I don't even hardly take a paycheck anymore. Like once a month, maybe I'll take a paycheck now.
Because you gotta.
Because I got to put it back into the company to stay in business because these insurance companies are like organized crime. They're like your partner. They're the ones that don't come in or make any money. And I got to pay out every month, but nothing's coming back from that, And people don't see that. And I don't complain about it because what's complaining going to do? I mean, am I going to have an advocate to go up to the Albany and say, I think these insurance companies are robbing and raping everybody, they need to be regulated. They blame everything on COVID. COVID was, 2-3 years ago now,
And now they're picking up the pieces, though, from all the
that's
money
what
they handed out.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Emptied the fucking treasury. You got to get it back somehow.
Right. So now they're banging everybody over the head. Even our car insurances went up. I have 4 security trucks that I put out there doing mobile patrols, and that almost doubled too. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So let me ask you this, and this is where I look for the advice. I mean, you have maintained, like you had said, a good temperament. You're like, there's no point to fucking complain about it, and I get that. I stopped at home. I just sit there every day. I'd stop drinking, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, what's the point? But, I mean, this is fucking frustrating. Is it not exhausting running a business every single day? And you're like, what the fuck is the point of this?
Well, the point is you're feeding your family, number one. You got to provide for your family if you're a good provider, good father, good husband. I mean, that's the way I was brought up. I mean, you got to do for your family first, always. But, it's like what you put into your business, and I don't have to tell you, it's what you're going to get out of it at the end of the day. You're going to have a lot of speed bumps along the way, insurance companies, or maybe a lawsuit here and there, or maybe somebody doesn't show up to work, and you might have to, go out there and work it yourself yourself. It happens every day.
Every day.
So
We just were on the phone with it.
and exactly. So is what you put into it in life is what you're going to get out of it. Whether you're a dishwasher, whether you're a cook, whether you're a car salesman, whether you're a brewer, an escort, whatever you do in life, you got to have fun doing it. And if you're not having fun, and if you're not relevant, and
how do you? Well, you're a diversified person. You were telling us that you got the race horses now, which is pretty cool. You got a lot of properties, right?
I probably have about 8 to 9 properties. Yeah.
So,
Commercial, residential, both?
A mix, both. Yeah.
so you feel like that? Like, listen, because you're diversified, you're like, all right, look, if one thing isn't doing what it used to be, I got fallbacks.
Right, I have fallbacks, and I've always saved my money. I wasn't the guy that went out partied. I'm not out there staying out till 4 a.m. chasing women around. I'm happily married. This is going to be my 35th wedding anniversary, May 12th. So I mean,
Congratulations.
35 years,
you.
really?
Wow.
35
And
years.
your
with
wife
the
is an
same
amazing woman.
Oh, sweetheart.
Yeah, Rosie's the best. And I got a good family. I got a good life. So you got to take the positives with the negatives, and hopefully the positives outweigh the negatives. And that's what I've always tried to deal with, I've always tried to find the light at the end of the rainbow, or the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you're guilty of this too. We give so many people different chances. And,
like this fucking loser
Steve
over here.
I mean, I know, I know he's been with you a long time, and half of your staff, I know that you've given a lot of chances to. And I'm guilty to a fault like that too. I mean, I try to see the best in everybody. And I try to, take their positives and try to eliminate their weaknesses and try to use their strengths and try to find the best possible product I could put out there for my clients and stuff like that too. And if a guard's not working out at one place, maybe I could put him somewhere else where he'll do a little bit better job for me. And if he can't do a better job, then I'm sorry, I got to find somebody else, but I'll try.
I almost wonder if it's a selfish quality doing that, and let me explain why. I've been trying to redeem myself with God for so many years for being such a scumbag that I guess if I keep people like you around, maybe they'll see that I have a good bleeding heart and they'll let me in heaven if there is one.
I think that's a good outlook.
It's a good outlook, right?
Yeah.
On that note, we're hiring if you'd like to fill out an application.
Fucking scumbag. Fucking Rolls Royce. What a dick. That was a nice car.
That's a great
Rolls-Royce,
car.
huh?
That's one of my fun ones.
But I gotta be honest with you, I sat in the thing and I was like, it's nice, but it's not like any nicer than my car.
No, but
it's
you
nicer.
get in, like the BMW you were in, my BMW, that thing's a spacecraft. The Rolls Royce, you feel like Thurston fucking Howell. But you drive the thing, it's a rocket ship, and you feel like you're on the asses of angels.
So, I do got a fucking bone to pick with you, though.
Yes.
I do. There's something very important over here. Now, I love my friend up the road at Rob. These fucking guys are great. I worked there as I was a kid, right? But every fucking time I see posts of you in there with my childhood hero, Darryl Strawberry, that I have been dying to fucking have a chance to meet. So, the New York Mets in 1986, we lived in Port Washington, right?
Right.
And my father had the restaurant, the Deep Sea Divers, next to Finn McCool's. You know Finn McCool's?
Yeah.
And so the night that they won Game 7,
That's awesome.
my father went to Finn McCool's, finished, and the entire fucking team piles in.
How cool is that?
I'm 10 years old, right?
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So a 10-year-old boy and the Mets win the fucking World Series.
Right.
I mean, that's like...
That was a fluke, but
It was
I'm a Yankee fan. So.
But listen, that was everything to us when we were a kid, right? Kevin Mitchell was my neighbor. And in fact, Daryl's ex-wife used to eat my dad's restaurant all the time, a lot of the Mets. So he went in there and he hung out with the team the night they won the World Series. Peed next to Daryl, got me his autograph. So when I was a kid, and you play Little League, and you have your little photographs, and on the back you write down your favorite player, and I have the Darryl Strawberry, right? So when I was opening Zimzari in Massapequa back in 2008, it was like 8 a.m.
Right.
And I'm going in there doing the demo. We're building the store, and there's fucking Darryl Strawberry getting his dry cleaning done. And I had a couple quick words with him, and it's such a nice man, right? And so I see you're friends with the guy. All I want is to meet fucking Darryl Strawberry and tell him What an impact.
You were my idol.
The
Right.
fucking guy, he was my idol as a kid.
And he's so close. He's right up the road.
And I can't get the fucking cocksucker here.
I get
Unbelievable.
Cocksucker is probably not the best way
We'll
to
try
get
to
him here,
make
but
that happen this year.
I keep it. But I understand he had a heart.
He did have a heart
Is
attack.
he doing
recently.
okay?
He's doing
Yeah.
okay. His son stayed at my house a couple summers ago for a while, and him and my son Austin are very good friends.
Right. All right.
So.
And Austin I've known Austin since he was a kid. Him and my brother-in-law were best friends.
Oh yeah.
Growing up.
Brian,
Like I
he's a
said,
super
we're
guy.
inbred town, we all know each
Yeah, I
other.
mean everybody knows everybody here, and this is like our own little Mayberry here.
It is. It's a nice little community. Our listeners overseas. Oh, we're getting people listening to us overseas again.
nice.
Somebody in fucking, I want to say it was Iran.
You might get some Japanese people listening. 'Cause
I hope so.
I was pretty big in Japan, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Give us a funny wrestling story.
I'll give you an Andre the Giant story.
Oh,
Well, we were wrestling in Japan. I was with All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Stan Hansen got me booked over there because he was like the #1 American wrestler that would always go to Japan and stuff. And he was over there for probably 30-some years plus, in Japan. Like he was the Hulk Hogan of Japan, and he would team with Hulk Hogan over there, and he beat Hulk Hogan several times. Andre the Giant. I mean, he was a grand champion American wrestler over there. So, make a long story short, we were flying one time, and we had a layover, I think, in Tokyo Narita airport. We were flying up to, I think, Sapporo or something, Hokkaido, I think it's called, in Sapporo or whatever. And it's like a 3-hour flight. It's like from going to New York to Fort Lauderdale or whatever. So we're about 9, 10 in the morning. We're there waiting for the flight, and it got delayed. So Andre the Giant's there, and the first thing he does is he wants to go to the bar and start drinking. So he called everybody boss. He goes, "Boss, come have a drink with me." And I'm looking around. Me, Andre? He goes, "Yeah, boss, come. We'll go have a drink." He didn't want to drink alone. So I said, "Okay." And I'm not a big drinker. So he goes, "Whatever you want. It's on me." And I said, "Oh, thank you, Andre." So I had a Sapporo beer, and he drank one. Just like one sip, and the whole beer is gone. And these are big, tall beers.
Yeah.
And I'm just, sipping mine. Here's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I don't really drink till, maybe after dinner or something like that, or after the matches.
Me neither.
But that day we had a day off, and we were just doing a travel day. So make a long story short, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and he starts slamming beers. And I'm like, holy shit. So I had 2 beers, and Andre's had about a 6-pack now. For every one I'm drinking, he's drinking like 3 or 4 beers. So he gets up to a case, 24 beers, and I'm maybe at my 4th or 5th beer.
what?
And he's like looking at me, "What's the matter, boss? You don't like to drink with me? You don't like to drink with Andre?" And I said, "No, boss." I said, I'm not a big drinker. So I'm drinking. Finally, I finally got about a 12-pack of these big, tall boy Sapporos in me. And
You gotta be wrecked.
Andre's had a little
Fucking
over a
tank.
case. And I've only been drinking like maybe 2 hours, and I drank like a 12-pack. And I'm buzzed, because I never drink. So they helped me on the plane, and I passed out on the plane. And then Stan goes, "Andre, what the hell did you do to beach?" "Boss, I don't know. He just had a couple of beers." So I slipped it off. I wake up in Sapporo, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, wide awake," and slip through the food service or lunch, whatever they serve. Because Japan, they serve food on, flights or whatever. Lunch.
So now you're a big guy,
Right. Andre
but
was
Andre
much
is just.
bigger.
How does he travel?
He gets two seats in first class next to each other, and he sits, in first class. I wasn't
There you
sitting
go.
by Andre, but I was in, the cheap seats, and probably it was like not economy, but it was like they have like another like mid class,
Like business class
like
almost?
a business class, and we were in the business class, and they feed you up there and everything. It's almost like a first class, but JAL Airlines is a very,
Yeah.
very good airline, and they would fly us everywhere on JAL and stuff. And then when we would fly over, like from New York, like I was living in New York at the time, we'd have to fly to New York, to Dallas, Texas, from Dallas, Texas to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Tokyo.
Yes.
And it was like an all-day flight. I mean, you're like 18, 20 hours in the airport.
and you're just getting
flying
off
over.
planes, getting on
Oh,
planes,
and you're like-
going through airports. That's
You
a
know,
bitch.
It was terrible, and then you would be like jet lagged when you got to Japan. So you try to sleep a little bit on the plane, but half the time you couldn't sleep. Everybody's bullshitting. You're there with other wrestlers, and they're trying to cut your eyebrows off or take a piece of your ponytail out of
They
your hair.
fuck with you, huh?
They fuck with you if you fell asleep or something, or they try to put a pill in your drink like a Halcyon,
No.
make you pass out, and then they would put makeup on you or whatever else they would do, or they would do some bad stuff. I mean, we were on a European tour when I was with the WWF, and Marty Jannetty This is a sick story, but I'm going to tell it because it was a funny story. You know those little puke bags, the vomit bags that they have on the airplane?
Yeah.
He went in the bathroom and took a dump in it. And he put it under Dino Bravo's seat. When he came back, and it was smelling like shit all over. And everybody's walking by Dino, and it was like, a 6-8 hour flight over from New York to Heathrow Airport in London. So we're flying over there, and everybody's looking at Dino like he shit his pants.
That's great.
And when Dino woke up, he was sleeping. When he woke up, he was smelling. Everybody's looking at him. And he went crazy, and they found the turd bag under the seat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And the stewardess threw it out. And Marty Jannetty never claimed it, but I was sitting 2 seats behind him, and it was smelling so bad I had to move my seat. But it was so funny.
That's fucking
and
funny.
Nobody ratted on Marty or anything, and he was just a big ribber. They call it ribbing, and, joking around. And I've seen them do some crazy stuff, And the British Bulldogs, they used to cut people's, like they would take a razor blade, slice people's like suit jackets and stuff they put on their jacket, and it would fall apart on them and stuff. They used to get Terry Taylor all the time when he was the Red Rooster, doing stuff like that. Or one time one of the guys crapped in his boot and he put his boot on. They would do some sick stuff, some of these guys.
It sounds fucking great.
I'm glad I never got ribbed that bad or anything.
It's hysterical.
But they do some crazy stuff in the wrestling business.
I'm still like just blown away with the André the Giant story. That guy must have been fucking gigantic.
He was gigantic. He was 7'4", about 560 pounds. He was huge. And when
7'4".
when he would land on you, it was crap.
What is the context? How do you when you're looking at a guy like that, like in here? What does that look like?
Andre was at least a foot taller than me, and I'd have to look. You have to look up at the guy, and he was so big you couldn't see around him. And Andre's big thing, he would get a kick out of it. He was like a man child. If you were in an elevator with him, he would fart, and it wasn't just a little. It was like brrr, like a tugboat,
like a tugboat. The guy's fucking livestock, for Christ's sake.
And they would go like anywhere between like 8 and 15, 20 seconds. It was like, brrr, finish Andre, and he'd go, hur, 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 hur. He would get a big kick out of it like he was a kid, and he got me one time in the elevator at Madison Square Garden. It was me, Haku, and Bobby Heenan.
Oh, wow.
We were going down to the cars down in the basement, and as soon as we got in the elevator, kind of backed up, and he started shaking. All of a sudden, brrr, and then Haku just turned his head and covered his mouth.
That's fucking great
and Bobby Heenan goes, really, boss? Really, boss? And then I'm just like, holy shit, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I had my mouth open, and I shut my mouth real quick because I didn't want to breathe any Andre's, farts or nothing like that. But he was a notorious ribber and farting on people. He loved doing that. Loved take you drinking. He would take you out. He'd pay for everything. But you couldn't keep up with Andre. He would drink 3-4 cases of beer like nothing. He'd drink a case or two of wine even. He loved his red wine because he was from France, so he loved the wine. And the wine bottle was like a soda bottle, and a couple sips, and he was.
Yeah, you figure his hand is about this big. It looks
huge.
like a.
That's just amazing. But he sounds like he was a nice person.
He was a very nice person, but he was in a lot of pain in the later years in life. His knees, his ankles. He had giantism, and
right.
He never really went to the doctors. Maybe they could have cured it or prolonged his life a little bit. But he went to France to his mother's funeral, and he passed away over there in the hotel room. He had a heart attack in his sleep.
Young man.
I think he was only like 42 years old, if I'm not mistaken, when he passed away. Don't quote me at that, but I know he was in his early 40s
Sad.
when he passed away.
That is. That's young.
I had the privilege of wrestling with him in Florida before in a battle royal when I first started back in the early 80s. And then I got to wrestle him later in life in Japan and stuff, and with WWF, battle royals and stuff. But I wrestled him and Baba, me and Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis. He's in all kinds of trouble now with Vince McMahon with that sex scandal. But me and him were a tag team in '91 over there, the World Tag League Championships in All Japan Pro Wrestling. But Andre was a special person. He's a really good guy. Did a lot for charities. Loved the kids. Always signing autographs. He got to travel the world, and he did it on his own terms, and he punched his own ticket.
Pretty cool shit.
That is
man.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Remember Jimmy Superfly Snuka?
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Snook, he was another good guy.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, but they did a special on him with Dark Side of the Ring about how he
That's right.
murders his ex-girlfriend or something.
Yes.
Nancy Adiallo or something like that.
What?
Yeah, he supposedly beat her up real bad, and they found her in a hotel room,
Dead?
like lifeless. Yeah,
Oh, no shit.
Fucking wild, man.
Off the top turnbuckle right in the hotel room. Just fucking took her out.
It's really I don't know what is it about the wrestling industry that is so intriguing to fans. It's like, I don't know, they're like,
it's like a love-hate relationship. You love to hate him or you hate to love him. And it's like,
yeah.
it's entertainment, sports entertainment.
And it's such good. My wife looks at me like I'm fucking nuts
Yeah, but
when I watch
that's
it. but-
exactly it, though, because you follow the storyline. Because it's not just the wrestling; it's all the other shit in the periphery. Who's at war with each other and this and that, and you get caught up in the drama, and it just makes
Exactly.
it all the more.
But the
a better
storytelling,
experience.
like if they're really good, I mean, like you look at like Rock right now. All of a sudden, for this round, he's a bad guy now. All of a sudden, right?
Right.
And he does a great job of it. Then, if you look at some of the other stuff, seems like he's just like the kindest person ever. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
interesting when it's like you're watching characters,
of course.
but at the same point, it's like you're rooting for them when they're bad. It's pretty cool.
You pick and choose who you like, and there's a lot of good guys like The Rock and like John Cena. Like John Cena is probably the number one person in wrestling that granted the most Make-A-Wish wishes for handicapped
you
kids and
like
stuff
hearing
that.
that.
A lot of people don't know that or understand that. Hulk Hogan was another guy that made a lot of appearances. Randy Macho Man Savage. I mean, we were always constantly going to different charities, children's hospitals, charity softball games, charity golf outings. I mean, it's not just wrestling in the ring or doing TV appearances or being on, a late night show or a talk show. It's, paying, giving back to the communities and stuff like that.
See, and that's cool.
And
like
a lot
the
of people don't
Make-A-Wish
see
and-
that. A lot of people don't see that. Granting people's wishes, the money they raise for different charities and organizations. That's giving back is key to everything. That's what I always look at.
You're a role model. I mean, these kids look up to
People look up to a lot of
they
wrestlers.
look up to these wrestlers.
100%.
Sure.
That's why
You're
you
making
gotta
a kid's life.
act accordingly. That's
I
why
still
you
get
always gotta-
starstruck, I mean, you're around celebrities all the time, though. Do you
Right.
get starstruck by anybody?
Not really. I mean, the only one that I'd probably get starstruck now is maybe Paul McCartney or Eric Clapton or somebody,
Yeah.
like a musician like
Have
that.
you met any of them?
I haven't met those two guys yet, but I've met all my childhood, like people like I'm very good friends with the guys from 38 Special, and
Yeah,
the
I know
Southern
those
rock
are-
bands,
oh,
and
nice.
Johnny Van Zant, the Van Zants, and
That's
all that
wild,
Johnny Van
man.
Zant. So I mean, Leonard Skinner guys, Ricky Medlock. I mean, I grew up with a lot of these guys, and the other night on Wednesday night, I just went to see J.J. Gray and the Mofos out at the Patchogue Theater, and one of my high school friends, Christy Roberts, her daughter, Katie Dutton. Is a backup singer for J.J. Gray. So she got me backstage passes, got to meet everybody, hang out. And I never heard of the band before, and I didn't even know they were from Jacksonville. And then I just heard them, and they were great.
That's cool.
So they got a new fan with me, but they were just
You're having a
excellent.
good time in life, huh?
I'm having a good time. I'm getting to do what I like to do. I'm getting to, pick and choose some of the places I work at. I like to work with good people in the hospitality industry. I like to work with people that pay their bills on time. I like to,
Imagine that.
I like to try to hire good people and try to cultivate, new relationships. And listen to your show last week. You had the guy from Oyster Bay Brewery and stuff, and that's like a success story right there.
He's a great
starting
dude,
out,
Ryan.
And I'd love to work with them or meet them, or me and you've talked about this several times about doing something like how the Oyster Bay has their Oyster Bay Festival and all
Yes.
that every year.
Yes.
I would like to do a Northport Festival, and I've been talking to yourself.
Yeah,
I've been
we
talking
spoke
to the
about
guys from
that.
Sand
Of
City. I've
course.
talked to Fred over at Delvino Wineries. Everybody wants in on it. But, the town of Northport is kind of like a stumbling block because some people like it, some people don't like it. They have, where's the parking? We don't have
First two
enough
letters
parking,
in Northport.
No
Spell no.
parking.
We did, in fact, a couple of years ago, you and I and Kevin from Sand City, we put
Yeah.
together, and Jen, we did like a 10-page proposal for the town.
Yeah.
And we wrote down and detailed the security plan, which was
Yeah, we would do the security.
a detailed,
and-
well thought out plan.
You know, we could definitely do it, and we
So
can get
how
some
do they
corporate
say no
sponsorship.
to that? But you have Cow Harbor Day.
Cow Harbor Day would be this would bring even more revenue to the
Right.
community. We could put some street lights maybe up on downtown Northport, or help fund that basketball court they're talking about that needs funding and
Sure,
stuff
yeah.
like that. You know, giving back to the community. I mean, we don't want to do anything for free, you know, or we don't want, you know, the town to do anything for free. I mean, we'll pay for everything, but I think just bringing like people like to some of the breweries, like getting Oyster Bay and the local breweries and yourself and Sand City, you know, involved in stuff like that, or Del Vino, or, you know, and the restaurants downtown Northport, and give them a little pump and a shot in the arm, because they didn't do that good in COVID either. They're still, you know, rebounding.
And
everybody.
post-COVID has been very. It's interesting because I've tried to do a lot of things collectively with the businesses in the community, and you could push that envelope far. You could really, you know, I mean, you can make anything happen if you really want to. I know.
I like getting Delvino involved because they're not on Main Street. They're
Right.
off in the, you know, in the back
Right,
area.
but Fred, when he opened up, he went through a lot of hassles.
He
too
went
with
through
the town.
right.
I mean,
the same shit that I
They,
did.
they wanted to crucify him. I had neighbors on my block coming to my house
Yeah.
saying, "Why won't you sign this petition on the parking over here on Starlet Drive?" I said, "Because I live far enough up Starlet Drive where it doesn't affect me.
Fuck it, let the guy do his
even
business.
in the streets, it doesn't affect me because I don't have to park down there. Unless you're having a party at your house and you need extra parking, it's not affecting you." You know?
And like, I mean, he built a beautiful place. What are you up in
that could have
arms?
been a
Place is
crack house.
stunning.
That-
100%.
It's gorgeous. I mean, he's brought jobs to the community.
Yeah.
He gives to every charity that asks him for anything. I mean, this guy's giving me more free bottles of wine than probably what I paid for over there. You know, I mean, I'm being realistic. I mean, he's just a giving, caring person. His whole family is. The food over there, I mean, he stepped up his food game now. At first, it was just okay, but now he hired a chef Massimo over there, and they're killing it now. You know.
Yeah, no, the food really is.
It's really good.
I think the problem is that the business owners, we try and do, like you said, we want to do the right things, and we get burnt out because, I mean, you go through these municipalities, you zone it.
How many times could they tell you no? You know,
Yeah,
before
it
you
really-
just get
it burns you the fuck out.
frustrated. You know, it's. I mean, we pay taxes here. We're on a high tax bracket up here in Northport and Asharoka or Eaton's Neck. You know, and it's ridiculous that we can't. You know,
Are you
as
considered the
citizens-
village where your house is?
No, I'm actually away from the village. Thank God,
Oh,
but
I was
I don't
gonna
have to
say.
pay that village tax.
We're gonna put Sunny Beach for fucking
Sunny
mayor.
Beach for mayor.
Maybe
Right.
I'll be mayor. Maybe I'll be police commissioner. I don't know yet, but
Although I have to say this administration is pro business. They're
it is pro business.
They're
I'm
good
a member of the
people.
Northport Chamber of Commerce and
Yeah.
stuff, and you know, as yourself, and you know, we all want to give back to the community and do what's right for our neighbors and our neighborhood, and you know. By hiring, security, having a security plan in place, putting the right vendors in place. You know, I attend the farmers market every Saturday when they're open to try to support the community and give back. And you know, I'll go down there and I'll buy, fresh fruits, or I'll buy some pretzels or whatever they're selling down
Right,
there.
whatever the-
Empanadas. And, it's like a little ritual. I go down there, see who's down there, say hello to a lot of people I meet down there and stuff. And
He's a fucking good man, isn't he? A
and
good guy.
I try to help everybody out, but it's the community's got to start giving back too and supporting local businesses and supporting neighborhood functions.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, the locals have to shop Main Street. They really do.
100%.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
know-
that said, maybe I'd love to see a little more diversity as far as the stores on Main Street.
There could be a little bit more diversity, but we have a new pizzeria that's
Yeah.
being remodeled.
I
We
mean, the
have a
hotel
couple
is
of
stunning.
restaurants. The
Just
hotel,
stunning.
it brought credibility, I think, to the neighborhood now
Mm-hmm.
with the hotel where people from outside the community could come and stay. They could have weddings there. It's a nice restaurant,
no,
nice
I
bar. The theater has brought in several people from around other communities to see Northport, and once the people see Northport, they want to come back.
We've definitely have been going through a renaissance the last decade.
100%.
And it's exciting to be a part of it. I think the challenge right now is that obviously the weather's been fucking shit for the last year, but the State of the Union is really what I think the challenging part is. I mean,
I think they're waiting for the next round of elections to come in before they do anything else.
I agree.
But I think, like our community, they should definitely open their ears and eyes to the community's needs, and I think that they should, be a little bit more open-minded to bring business to Northport, or bring another festival instead of Cow Harbor Day. Maybe make it Northport Day. Whatever it is to help support some of the local businesses and help give back to the community.
Can we do a Herb Abrams Day?
We could make Herb Abrams a Memorial Day and maybe have a wrestling match downtown Northport or something in the streets.
I kind of like
a ring.
Nude fucking
oiled up, coked up.
I'm thinking about, bringing a couple of corporate sponsors in that could write off, as a write-off, bring in a couple of nice bands like a 38 Special or a Southern Rock or a country band or whatever they want to bring in.
I'll tell you what, this being our 15th year, we had, I didn't do it for a couple of years, but I put in for the permits, and the town just gave me the permits. I got Pete Mazzio,
Pete Mazzio,
very
great friend of
excited. Fuck, love Pete Mazzio. He'll be here on May 24th, and then I have the Oktoberfest booked this year. So maybe we can do something. Yes,
do a wrestling ring.
Well,
where do we rent a wrestling ring? You got to know.
There's plenty of places where you could get a wrestling ring. I could get you in touch with people. With
right
that,
over there.
I can't wrestle anymore after my heart attack.
Not you. No, we'll get someone else.
I just want you to bring down Strawberry that fucking day. That's it.
Yeah, we'll try to bring some Mets down or something, or maybe we could do like an autograph signing or something. Bring in a charity, and we could get some of these guys.
Dwight Gooden? Is he still around?
Dwight Gooden's getting his number retired this year.
I
Actually,
love
for the Mets.
Doc.
But Doc Gooden, he showed up to my school one day with his agent Mead Chatsky, and they came and they did a signing. They were signing all the Topps baseball cards, and I let them use my office in Levittown to do that.
Actually, Blake reached out to me Tuesday. This Tuesday, he's like, you want to go Tuesday night at the Aviator Museum in Nassau?
Oh, Cradle of Aviation.
Yeah, Cradle of Aviation. He's like, $90, you meet Doc. And I was like, oh, I fucking love Doc.
Oh, yeah. When is it?
Tuesday.
I'll go.
Yeah,
those guys are the best, cool. Man.
Yeah, they do a lot of charity stuff too.
It's great shit. How do our listeners find you when they need to have security needs?
Well, we're our website is apbguards.com. Our offices are at 75 Larkfield Road in East Northport, APB Security. And our security training school is over in Levittown off of Hempstead Turnpike. It's BSI Security Training or Long Island Training Center. And that website is litrainingctr.com. So they can find me in all these places. And we won Best of Long Island from 2017 to 2020, right before, as when COVID was beginning and ending. And, we're just doing our thing here, providing services. We protect people and property from harm, and we're always looking for good clients to work with and good people to hire for our company. We're always hiring. Through our school, we could train people. We're a licensed security guard company with the state of New York, and we also a licensed security guard training school with the state of New York. So
wow,
it's good, man. Huh? I appreciate you taking really your time to hang out with us.
I enjoyed the interview.
I didn't know if you were going to come and hang out with us. I don't know, because we're a little controversial. Although I have to say,
he's a great influence on us.
Of course,
you guys were. I was hardly even cursing today.
I wanted, you know what I mean?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It's very hard.
He's really turning a new leaf.
I'm trying very hard.
Well, he's a little more foul-mouthed than me. He curses more. I say some fucked up shit.
Right.
In a different, I say what everyone thinks, and I'm the bad guy. Whatever. I've been called worse.
It's all good.
Listen, you know what? I got yesterday when the brewery just reopened, and I stopped in there yesterday, and we had a customer, wonderful guy, and I should have gotten his name. I've seen him in here a bunch of times, and he says, "I love the podcast." He goes, "I listen to it at the gym."
Right.
And I break out laughing. And I was like, thanks, man. Because
that's cool.
That's what this is about.
It's about having a good time. And when you asked me to come on, I said, I'd love to. We've been friends for a lot of years. And, and you're also a client of mine. So, of course, I try to give back to everybody, and I try to make time for everybody. And, and you're doing positive things for the community and the neighborhood. And I always appreciate you and all you've done for, everybody and Northport. So, it's.
Well, I appreciate it. And so if Rick thinks that I'm a good person, even though I'm a little fucked up and rough around the edges.
You're a little closer to heaven now with me being here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, I appreciate you came, man. This is awesome. And Steve, and he even has nice things to say about Steve, which is fucked up. I can't
Chuck
believe
and Larry. I mean, my son
Chuck
used to
and
call
Larry.
them
Chuck
that,
and Larry, I love it.
I love that too. But
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks. And next week we have Jen from Babes in Business who's coming. I'm not sure if she's a lesbian or a feminist, but we'll find out. So stay tuned. It's pretty exciting.
very cool.
Yeah. You know? And thanks for joining us,
Just
everybody.
drop this on me now. I didn't know this.
Yeah, Babes in Business.
Babes in
Lesbians,
Business.
feminists, shit like that. I don't know. Maybe she had a fucking husband that cheated on her. Who knows? We'll find out. But ladies and gentlemen,
Definitely bring the
stay
Rolls
tuned.
Royce.
Like, share, follow. Sunny Beach, God bless you. Thank you much.